We're going to learn lesson number 10, exercises 1 through 4 for the snare drum rhythm exercises.
On this page, they explain how to do a flam. And what a flam looks like is that little note with a cross, with a line through the stem of it. And it's connected to a full note. A flam is a fast note. So the way you play a flam is you're going to hold your sticks at 2 different levels, but you're going to drop them at exactly the same time so the sound is slightly offset. So if I put my sticks down together at the same height, they're gonna drop at the same speed and at the same time. A flam is when you put one stick a little bit higher, but you drop at the same time and the sound happens slightly off. So you're getting a but-up sound. Look again. So I want you to practice the flam. What you're going to do is you're going to drop your sticks at 2 different heights, but whatever stick is higher, once you drop your sticks, I want you to keep it down low towards the drum. So you're going to switch, and where my right hand is high and my left hand is low right now, once I drop them, I'm going to switch so my left hand will be high and my right hand will be low. So take a look. So I'm going to keep that stick, the stick that dropped from the higher, I'm going to keep it down. So when I do a flam again, I'm going to switch to the left hand. And then switch. And switch. 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 So a flam is when the notes are really, really, really close together. If I hear this, that's not a flam. There's too much space. It's not fast enough. The notes have to be a split second right next to each other. It's almost like they're dropping at the same time, but they're not. You're getting, the notes are just slightly off. So listen one more time. So we're going to switch from right to left and then right to left again. Here we go. 1, 2, 4 times. Go. Rest, rest, left, rest, left, rest, 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 left, rest. Good job. Now let's look at exercise number 1. We're going to go through it first. We'll talk through the rhythm and then we'll play it. You have a rest on beat 1. And then you have an 8th note by itself right after that. Remember, we count when it's in 4/4, we count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's all the 8th notes. So this measure is full of all 8th notes, but the beat 1 is a rest. So on beat 1 you're going to say rest, and all the others you're going to play on. So it's going to be rest and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now the next measure is exactly the same thing, but instead of connecting every 2 notes, they connect 3 and 4 notes. As long as they're connected with a single line on top, they are still 8th notes and they're still counted the same way. So the next measure is rest and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The next measure, we're on the 3rd measure of the line. You have rest and 2 and, rest and 4 and, rest and 2 and 3, rest on 4. Let's go back to the very beginning and walk through that one more time, and then we'll play it. We have rest and 2 and 3 and 4 and, rest and 2 and 3 and 4 and, rest and 2 and, rest on 3 and 4 and, rest on 1 and 2 and 3, rest on 4. Let's play through it twice since there is a repeat at the very end. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Rest and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Rest and 2 and. Rest and 4 and. Rest and 2 and 3. Rest on 4. Repeat. Rest on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Rest on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Rest on 1 and 2 and. Rest on 3 and 4 and. Rest on 1 and 2 and 3. Rest on 4. Great job. We're now on song number 2. This is in 3/4, which means we're counting to 3 for every measure. So walking through it, we have rest on 1, then you have 2 and 3, and the second measure is just 1, 2, 3. Let's just play the first 2 measures. Here we go. Rest on 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3. Here's the next part. It's the same as the very first measure in exercise 1, but instead of counting to 4, you're only counting to 3 for this measure. So we're resting on 1, and then we have our 8th note, and 2, and 3, and the next measure is 1, 2, rest. Let's just play measures 3 and 4 together. So we have rest, and 2, and 3, and 1, 2, rest. We're now on the second half of the song, measure 5. We have, it's the same as the very beginning, by the way. We have rest, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3. Rest, and 2, and 3, and 1, 2, rest. So this is the second half of the song. So we're starting in measure 5. Here we go. Rest, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3. Rest on 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, 2. Rest on 3. Let's go back to the very beginning of the song and play all the way through. This is song number 2. 1, 2, 3, ready, and play. Rest on 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3. Rest on 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, 2. Rest on 3. Rest on 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, 3. Rest on 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, 2. Rest on 3. So remember, the notes with a flag are an 8th note, so those are your faster notes. If it does not have a flag on it, it's just a 1 count note. Those squiggly lines are 1 count rests, and if it's a line with a dot on it, that is your 8th note, your fast rest. We're on song number 3. This time we are in 2/4, so we're counting every measure in 2. We learned about afterbeats, and that's when you're playing all the ands of the measure. So you're not playing on the beat, on the numbers, you're playing on every other beat, the ands. So walking through it, we have rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, rest. The next half of the song is exactly the same thing. So we have rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and 2, and 1, and 2. Let's walk through that one more time. From the very beginning, we have rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, rest. Rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, rest. Let's play through this on the snare drum. We're counting, again, we're counting in 2, and we are going to take the repeat, so we're going to play this song twice. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and 2, and 1, and 2, rest. Rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and 2, and 1, and 2. Now repeat. Rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and rest on 2, and rest on 1, and 2, and 1, and 2. Rest, rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and rest, and 2, and 1, and 2. We're now on song number 4. Again, we are counting in 2. So if you break up that first measure into 8th notes, it's 1 and 2 and. But instead of saying 2, there's a rest on 2. So it now sounds like this. 1 and rest and. My suggestion is that you go through the song and you write in all the 1 and 2 ands throughout the whole song, but wherever there's a rest, put a parenthesis on it so you know not to count that number. Here we go. We're going to walk through it. We have 1 and rest and. Then do the same thing again for the next measure. 1 and rest and. Next measure. 1 and 2 and 1 and rest on 2. Then the second half of the song is actually the same as the first. Let's do it again. 1 and rest and 1 and rest and 1 and 2 and 1 rest, rest. Let's try playing song number 4 one more time, and then we'll do it on the snare drum. We have 1 and rest on 2 and 1 and rest on 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and rest on 2. 1 and rest on 2 and 1 and rest on 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 rest on 2. Let's try playing it 2 times through. There is a repeat. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 1 and rest on 2 and 1 and rest on 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and rest on 2. 1 and rest on 2 and 1 and rest on 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 rest, rest. Now repeat. 1 and rest and 1 and rest and 1 and 2 and 1 and rest. 1 and rest and 1 and rest and 1 and 2 and 1 rest, rest. That's going to be it for this lesson. Next week we will go over the little overture, which is exercise 5. I can't wait to hear your recordings.